Well, look, sales are up and profits are down, and both of those messages are important. So the fact that sales are up in what is a challenging market is something that actually we're very pleased about, and that's both across Waitrose and John Lewis. The fact that profits are down is largely because we've seen margins being squeezed as a result of higher input costs, particularly in Waitrose. And that's why. And actually, at our full year results in March, we said that we expected exactly that to happen, and it has. So it's you'd always like to see profits going up, but this is pretty much what we expected would happen.
And this is almost entirely down to the weaker pound?
Well, that's certainly been a factor. That's been one of the things which is pushing input costs up. And we're in a very competitive marketplace, and so we're choosing not to pass all those on because we want to sustain sales growth. And of course, we've held market share in Waitrose, and actually we've grown share in John Lewis, which we're very pleased with. But the other thing I'd say about this particular half is that we anticipated that this would be a tough market. But rather than sort of sitting on our hands and hunkering down to sort of get through the storm clouds, we also decided that we were going to press on with a number of really important changes in the business. And so in the course of this first half, we've probably seen more change going on in the partnership than we have for a very long time.
You've said today that Brexit is undoubtedly having an impact on the economy and on your trading.
Well, I mean, you've mentioned one of the factors. I mean, of course, the main reason that sterling is lower, although it's gone up a bit today, certainly lower than it was 18 months ago, is because of the decision to leave the European Union. And that does have an impact in a number of different ways on different businesses. And there's also the uncertainty of what Brexit will mean, which does weigh on businesses and on consumers. And so those factors both have an impact on the trading environment. But of course, that is for everybody. I mean, we're certainly not sort of saying this is peculiar to the John Lewis partnership or Waitrose. This is everybody is facing that issue. I do think, though, that we need to see sort of justice done to the complexities that we're facing. This is unquestionably a difficult negotiation that's going on, and I think that what's required is a serious debate in Parliament about what kind of Brexit we should be having.
What kind of Brexit do you think we should be having?
Well, in a way, I think it's for Parliament to decide that. We elect MPs to represent us, of course, and to make decisions that they think between them are in the best interests of the country and the economy as a whole. I don't, what I see lots of polarised views and quite a lot of angst-ridden debate, and it is difficult. And even some of the responses to some of the things I said this morning sort of reflect that. But I think the observation I'd make is, look, this is difficult, but I don't think there's any option. I don't think you can avoid the difficulties. So my preference would be, or my suggestion would be, that it's better to face into those sooner rather than later, probably in the form of a serious parliamentary debate, to get some clarity through that about where the consensus lies. And then depending on what the outcome is, then we can go forth and then sort of we can get that done. The alternative feels to me like we're going to hit some difficult point at some point in the future. And the risk of that is, of course, it simply pushes back the point at which some kind of clarity emerges. And it might mean that we place an awful lot of pressure on a negotiation in a very short space of time, which seems to me to be risky.
Do you think the UK is going to avoid a recession?
Again, it's extremely hard to say. I think it's encouraging that we haven't seen that happening to date. But again, there's so much uncertainty about where the economy will go, depending on the outcome to some of these big questions. And some of the outcomes, you could envisage them having at least a significant short-term impact, if not a longer-term one.